But of course, we have more. I have more to try to keep my time between just those games. We've also got a certain new series on Disney Plus airing right now. New episodes coming out at 2 a.m. my time every Thursday morning on Disney Plus. I am, of course, talking about She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. And actually here with me to start this first segment to talk about this show. He's been wanting to do this. We tried to get him on last week, but we had problems with Discord and everything. But I believe he should be on here right now. James Faraci joining us on Rowdy Live. Welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here, dude.
Yeah, the good news is, like I said, we tried to do this last week. Had technical difficulties, let's put it that way. And had to put this thing
putting
off.
It mildly.
But, I guess the good news is because this is one of those shows that and this has been talked about online a lot, that this is one of those shows that they air new episodes weekly instead of just one whole binge section all at once. That this thing, like all of these Disney Plus, Marvel MCU shows, it's keeping it in the spotlight. It's keeping it relevant for now and the foreseeable future. So at least we're not kind of dated on this by telling about it right now, which unfortunately I could be a bit guilty of in some situations.
Yeah.
But obviously, this is something we got when, and it's been an issue with. It seems like every time one of these new shows come out, that let's say it's very polarizing, to kind of put it mildly.
You're putting it very mildly this time, Chris.
Well, yeah. Well, the internet doesn't do anything halfway. It's if you're at this level, or it's over 9,000, one way or the other. But yeah, for those not into this series yet, and if you're not, why the hell are you not? But of course, this is the series is centered on Bruce Banner's cousin, Jennifer Walters, who I think 4 episodes in, it's okay to give away this much without trying to spoil too much about the show. That it's about how when she and Bruce got involved in an auto accident while on vacation, and in the process, while she was trying to rescue him from the crashed car, she ends up basically getting some of his blood in her system, and it ends up giving her the Hulk-like abilities, though in a lesser package, more, so to speak, kind of. Now, this is one thing I really think they kind of got right, even if they might not have thought about it this way, is the fact that Jennifer automatically has basically a far greater abilities to control the Hulk than Bruce did at the start.
Exactly.
But that actually kind of, to me, makes more sense to me, because she didn't get the blood of the original Hulk. She got the blood of the smart Hulk after Bruce had already learned to tone down and gain more control over it. We still don't know exactly what type of experiments he did on himself in that laboratory that Tony Stark built for him in Cancun, Mexico, wherever it was. But it's clearly he did something to further alter his own genetics from what the Hulk originally was back in the early days of the MCU, and that's what he accidentally passes on to Jennifer. So really, the fact that she automatically comes out being far more able to control her abilities, to me, makes a lot more sense even within the storyline itself.
Exactly.
And,
but,
yeah.
You know what happened. We all know what's going on.
It's definitely, it's kind of, there is a lot of talk about the show, and one, obviously centered on a few things. One, the fact that it is, let's put it, much more lighthearted than a few other things in the show. I mean, you've basically, one series you've got Hawkeye basically on the lam trying to escape the contract that has been taken out on his life when Natasha's own sister is trying to kill him. It's a much more grounded, morbid type of series, this is a flat-out comedy. And I think at least those of us who end up enjoying it are looking at it and saying, it's really kind of a breath of fresh air that
Exactly.
we could use some type of levity towards it. Now, obviously, it's still connected to a lot of other things in the MCU. We've seen that, that of course, we saw that Banner is no longer with, at least for now, no longer part of the show. The way they wrote him off was something that it looks like we're going to get something similar to World War Hulk eventually down the line, which is the best appellation I can see of it. Of course, Wong is back in this series, which is obviously has some connection to Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, I think. I haven't seen that movie yet, unfortunately. I really need to check that out.
And there's Wong.
Yeah, exactly.
Wong.
As I was saying. I said, Wong was there having to more or less enlist the services of Emil Blonsky, a.k.a. Abomination, who Jennifer ends up having to represent when she joins a new law firm that is their whole gig is representing mutants and superheroes more or less. And a lot of people have said this show, of course, definitely has very much an Ally McBeal type of theme to it. And of course, as someone who has openly stated that Ally McBeal was one of my favorite guilty pleasures back when it originally aired, I can see some of it. I'm gonna say that Jennifer's boss probably isn't as entertaining as Richard Fish was, so that's kind of a point down for it. But on the other hand, maybe that type isn't necessary, because I think that Jennifer is carrying this show a lot better than Ally and Calista Flockhart carried that show. So, at the very least, this is probably doing the situation better than Ally McBeal actually did. It's got a lot of fun characters. I think a lot of people are enjoying Jen's best friend and co-paralegal on this show.
And this is one of the newer episodes.
Yeah.
This is from the newest episode. The character of Madison.
Oh, boy. Is that
Madisyn.
You know what? I'm just going to say this. I am actually really looking forward to tomorrow night when Tara comes on Radio Dead Air. And if they end up talking about that, because, that is... If you don't watch Radio Dead Air that much, and again, if you're not, why not? That's one of her pet peeves, is all those people who name their child and give them the most ridiculous spelling possible. So... Yeah. We didn't get to see Tara's reaction to Captain America F's. I really would like to see her reaction to, Madison with 2 N's and a Y, but not what you think.
Yeah. But apparently, for as much as you have liked the show and I've liked the show, Twitter has decided to roast this show over an open fire.
Depends on what side of Twitter you get, but I see exactly what you're getting at, and it's... Obviously, they don't like the, let's try the type of... Let's call it the third wave feminism, social justice type of subtleties, let's put them that way, that ends up into the show. What I love about this, but the main thing is, it's clear the writers knew they were going to go after these guys. They went into this show, I think, knowing exactly what buttons to push. And they're pushing them beautifully, because, like I said, that whole just one segment in, I think it's episode 3, where they just show a bunch of supposed Twitter posts of people in the MCU griping about the existence of a female Hulk. And remember, those were created
and I think that was also the same episode
debuted. Right.
I think that was also the same episode where Jen hires this pop musician. I'm not into pop music, but
it wasn't.
My niece is afraid of her.
No, here's the thing. Yeah, it was. Her firm had to represent her old colleague at the district attorney's office because he was filing suit against a shapeshifter from New Asgard who he was dating, who tricked him into believing she was the music star Megan Thee Stallion on there. That was what the
Yeah,
whole
I
situation does. And then, yeah, there's a post-credit scene where Jen actually meets the actual Megan Thee Stallion, and there's some dancing, let's put it that way, that kind of got on a few people's nerves.
yeah.
And just again, just the one thing that just makes me roll my eyes, anything is all those posts who's saying, yo, Stan Lee is turning over in his grave because of this. James, let me remind you go on to answer this question. What was the very first show I ever reviewed on TV Trash?
Stripperella.
Who created Stripperella?
Stan Lee.
Aha! This is the guy, and remember, this is the guy who was quoted as saying, comic books are like boobs. They're nice to see on screen, but yeah, I prefer to have them in my hands. I really don't get the feeling Stan Lee would be, have serious issues with one of his female characters twerking.
Yeah, I would not.
Especially with some of the stuff that's actually been shown in the old comics themselves.
Speaking of the comics,
Mm-hmm.
this is where, believe it or not, I want to talk about some history because everyone thinks, oh,
Fire away.
she's a new phenomenon and all that. No, she's not. She actually started off. This is just something I've heard. Back in the 1970s, there was the Bill Bixby, Lou Ferrigno Incredible Hulk series where Dr. Banner is David Banner.
Right.
I didn't mind that change. But they were going to add in a spin-off character named Jennifer Walters, who happened to be David's cousin, have the blood thing. Marvel went with that before the series did, and that's how we got the She-Hulk beforehand. And
Yeah,
one of the things
supposedly
that
Stan Lee was supposedly create the character to try to prevent basically someone else from creating it and taking over the trademark and copyright before it. If my research serves me correctly. And then
I think that research serves you well.
yeah, and I think like and it's just the point where he just wanted to make sure he could gain hold of the copyright of that character. He wrote one issue and then passed it on to someone else. And then of course, yeah, the original run had its ups and downs under the title Savage She-Hulk, but it was really when John Byrne took over in the re-released Sensational She-Hulk that again basically established the character that would be the foundation for the Marvel 616 universe comics from that point on. And of course, we pointed this out, like, this was a character that was doing the whole meta humor, fourth wall breaking stuff long before our Wade Wilson Deadpool ever existed. Although I will maintain again, a certain fat cat named Garfield was doing it before Jennifer Walters did, just for that. But yeah, that's the thing, is that it's when you really look at it, and again, I've never read too many of the comics myself, but I at least heard about enough of them. Again, where first there was John Byrne's run, and then a lot of people all seem to reference the time when Dan Slott was writing the character in the comics as well. It just seems like the creators of this series did do their research on this, and
exactly
the creators. This version of the character, it's got its differences, to be sure. Like the fact that it wasn't, of course, it wasn't an auto accident in the original comics. That, because I have read the pilot comic, and it wasn't an accidental blood sharing from an auto accident that caused it. Bruce actually voluntarily gave his own blood after Jennifer was shot by mobsters that had a hit out on her. Also, the little detail that Jennifer was originally a redhead in the comics, but those are just really minor details.
That the whole car accident or whatever it was, that was adapted from the 1990s cartoon The Incredible Hulk, where Bruce and Jen were meeting up, and she discovers Bruce's big green secret. And Doctor Doom actually, if I remember correctly, threatened that if Hulk doesn't do what Doom says, Jennifer dies. So and she had a lot of internal injuries, and to help her survive, Bruce gave her gave him his blood, gave Jennifer his blood, and well,
Yeah, I may
long
have to
story
check. I may have to
short,
look
we
up.
got ourselves a She-Hulk there.
I may have to look up and check out that series. Meanwhile, like I said, not without giving away too much, I actually do have planned to do reviews on a few other Marvel television productions that came out at or around the same time as Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk series. Not giving away anything as of right now. Just stay tuned for next month, everybody, on that. But this is where I'm just gonna make say my piece on this. When you really look at all these characters, that so many of these, I don't like to use. I try my best not to use insulting terms about these individuals. You can call them chuds, call them incels, whatever you want to say. It basically comes
I
down
call them
to
schmucks.
whatever it comes down to. When you look at these particular characters like Jen Walters and the MCU's Carol Danvers, and who knows what other comes about to it. There's a reason. I think that. Yeah, they'll point out that they supposedly loved Natasha Romanoff in the MCU series. When it really comes down to it, it comes down to the characters, the female characters these people seem to like. You really look at how they're portrayed, and even though it's never said in these things, these fans, to put it lightly, look at someone like a Black Widow, and they see a character they think they have a chance with, sexually. Got people like Jennifer Walters, people like Carol Danvers, they basically give off the vibe that no, they would have no sexual interest in any of these people watching it, and that hurts these people. That injures, that makes them feel sad down in the nether region, so to speak, for lack of for trying to hold back a more term. But that's basically what, to me, it comes down to. These people just cannot handle any type of female character that, even if they come off as conventionally attractive, can't handle any type of female character who makes it clear they would never sleep with them. That's just the blunt view I gotta say about that right now.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that, because let's face it, if they think they don't stand a chance, they just make it harder for everyone else to enjoy. And I don't like that. I want to enjoy entertainment. I want to enjoy my shows. I want to enjoy these characters. But to hear all these people complain about, oh, I can't get with her because she's this, or I can't have this because of that, that is a load and a half. And I am tired of it.
What I can just tell you this.
I mean, I have heard so many complaints in my life about this type of stuff. Oh, it's never good enough for you. Oh, it's not right. It's not perfect. How dare you? How dare you?
Well, I'm gonna
just
tell you this.
irritate
I'll
me
tell you
with
this,
this
James.
type of stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, James. Here's what my solution is to that. This is one of those times where I think the best thing to do is to just laugh a bit at how stupid these guys sound, and then just ignore them. Because you know what? They can complain all they want to. This show isn't gonna the show's in the can as it is. I think there's 16 to 18 episodes with this show completely. They're not gonna stop releasing them. This is especially because this isn't a situation where they're putting it on a network where it could get canceled by the network at any given time. This is Disney's production on Disney's website, and it's under their control. And they're not gonna just they produced these episodes and they've already released it. I'm promising you, they're not going to stop the release of this show just because a few guys with tiny peepees get their butts hurt on the internet. Disney is not Warner. They're not just kicking out something they produced.
Right.
So,
but it gets tiresome.
I
I'm trying
know.
to enjoy things, and
To me, it's just gotten to a point where, you know what? I can't stop the bitching, so I'm just gonna try my best to ignore them, because that's probably the best thing I could possibly do. Is just have to just, you know what? I'm just saying, screw you guys. I'm still gonna enjoy this stuff. If you can't handle it, that's your problem.
okay then.
That's kind of how I go.